In 1943, in a remote military research facility, soldiers volunteered for an experiment designed to make them stronger, faster, nearly invincible. It was called Project Persephone. Documents describe it as a breakthrough in battlefield medicine. The first volunteers were healthy men, young, fit, eager to serve. They were told the procedures were experimental, but no one explained the extent of the tests. They were injected with compounds designed to accelerate cellular repair. Electrodes were attached to measure neural activity. Anesthetics administered, followed by exposure to electrical pulses meant to stimulate healing. Monitors recorded heart rate, blood pressure, brain waves. Nurses and doctors moved efficiently, quietly, as if this were standard protocol. Muscle tears regenerated. Soldiers reported pain only briefly, then nothing. Sleep patterns normalized faster than normal, with some reporting vivid dreams that seemed preternaturally realistic. The commanders were impressed. The scientists were ecstatic. The men themselves felt invincible, but anomalies appeared within days. The soldiers began to notice changes that weren't expected. They could feel pain, yes, but not like before. Sharp sensations were dulled, but lingering. Some reported hearing whispers in their sleep, voices repeating phrases in languages they didn't understand. Dreams overlapped reality. Shadows moved differently than they should. Lights seemed to flicker when no one touched the switches. Machines beeped when nothing required attention. The anomalies escalated. One volunteer, after a minor training accident, sustained multiple fractures. Standard medical expectation, weeks of recovery. Instead, bones knit themselves in hours. But the man reported excruciating pressure internally. He began muttering unintelligible phrases while awake. The officers dismissed it as delirium, perhaps a side effect of the injection, or weapons that did not exist. Then the first death, or what appeared to be death, occurred. Nurses reported that his eyes had been wide open, unblinking, during the entire flatline. Pain persisted, but in irregular waves, sometimes hours apart, sometimes in an instant. His body temperature fluctuated rapidly. Sensory perception changed. He could see faint movements in the corner of his vision that no one else could detect. Over the next weeks, similar incidents multiplied. Soldiers subjected to the same procedure became harder to categorize as living or dead. They survived injuries that would have killed them instantly, yet they suffered severe neurological instability, whose minds were subject to influence from stimuli that seemed imperceptible to ordinary humans. One man reportedly stood in sunlight for hours, skin unburned, no sign of dehydration, no visible fatigue. Some men refused to sleep. Others could not sleep at all. Their bodies demanded rest, but their minds refused. Compounds in the injections seemed to interact with neural pathways unpredictably. Some soldiers aged in reverse, subtly at first. Skin tightening, graying reversing, hair darkening. Others showed the opposite. Rapid deterioration followed by spontaneous recovery. Their physiological metrics defied explanation. Psychological consequences were worse. Several volunteers attempted to communicate with one another about what they were experiencing. Something in the facility seemed to be watching, responding, adjusting. One diary entry describes a man speaking to someone in the shadows who was not there, and the other soldiers corroborated hearing his words, though no sound was emitted. The commanders debated halting the project, yet fear prevailed. Fear of the unknown. Fear that these men, now beyond ordinary biology, could not be controlled once released. Orders came down to continue, to refine, to document. But secrecy increased. Guards posted outside the lab, observers banned from recording. Any deviation was classified. Then came the incident no one could explain. A group of volunteers was sent into the field for routine training, live fire exercises, expected minor injuries, standard drills. Communications went silent. After 6 hours, a patrol entered the field. What they found was impossible. The soldiers were standing in formation, untouched. surrounded by debris from an explosion that had decimated vehicles and killed support staff. They were alive, no burns, no injuries. Yet their eyes were unseeing, staring past everything, mouths moving as though repeating words from the whispers they'd heard for weeks. Attempts to communicate failed. They returned to the base silently. Officers described a presence radiating from them. Some spoke in languages unknown to anyone present. Attempts to sedate failed. One soldier reportedly escaped confinement for hours, appearing later with blood on his hands, though no one had been injured. Surveillance footage showed him moving impossibly fast, climbing walls and crawling through spaces too small for a human. Publicly, it never existed. Files were shredded, witnesses reassigned, yet the men themselves remained impossible, uncontrollable, too dangerous to be released, too dangerous to be detained. Records refer to them as subjects X1 to X17. After termination, routine surveillance was minimal, but never absent. Reports continued, flickering lights in abandoned compounds, sounds of movement in sealed corridors, unexplained auditory signals in communications, sightings of men in remote locations decades later, somewhere out of sight, somewhere watched, somewhere recording. Scientists involved in the project were silenced. Their minds no longer belonged entirely to themselves. A presence embedded in the procedure persisted. Some spoke of dreams in which they observed events they had no knowledge of, events they could not influence, but were compelled to witness. These dreams persisted decades after the initial experiment. They reported waking from them with subtle shifts in their perception of reality. Colors brighter, shadows longer, time slower. And always the sense of observation, of evaluation, of being judged by a mind beyond comprehension. The final, chilling note in the project files reads, "Subjects cannot be contained permanently. They will survive, they will adapt, they will not die. All conventional methods fail. Observation is recommended. There is no follow-up, no termination, no confirmation of success or failure." Something about its design ensured survival at all costs for any duration. Something about it defied normal biology.